Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to our Tuesday Talks.
So today we have a person that's coming on here, and we're going to be talking about some of the things that's going on in our world today. But first, as always, we took a personality quiz for you to kind of lighten the mood and introduce the show. And so this week we took the 5 love languages test. And I have taken this test before and I scored quality time, and I am still quality time. So that was, I think I got 37% quality time. So I'm very much a let's hang out kind of person and just spend time with you type of person. But Julia, what of the 5 love languages did you get?
Yeah, and I'll introduce myself real quick, just in case some of you are watching this for the first time. So my name's Julia Day, and I'm an advocate here at the North Star Advocacy Center. I almost said Children and Family Center, but that was our previous name. We recently changed it. And so I took this quiz and I got words of affirmation. That is my top love language, is I liked to be affirmed by words from other people.
Yep, and I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Meghann, and I am also a victim advocate at North Star. So leave a comment below, and if you have taken the love languages quiz, or if you want to pause the video and go take it really quick and then come back, comment below and tell us what is your love language, and because it's fun to hear everybody's results. So
yeah, we love learning about the people who watch Tuesday Talks and get to know you guys, just as we want you guys to get to know us.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. So like I said, today we're going to be talking about a topic that, and probably in some places it does seem a little controversial, and some places it brings up a lot of emotion. And so, but we wanted to talk about it, and we are going to be bringing in Anthony Williams. He is an officer at the Northwest Missouri State University Police Department, and we just felt like this was an important conversation to be having.
So as Meghann and I are advocates here at the North Star Advocacy Center, a big part of our role is to listen to others and empathize with them and validate them and their experiences. And so we hope as you guys watch this video that you as well can listen alongside us and empathize alongside us, just as we hear different perspectives with everything that's going on in our nation right now.
So I think with that, we're going to go ahead and bring in our friend Anthony Williams from Northwest Missouri State University Police Department.
Hey, how's it
going? Good. How are you?
Good. Not too bad.
Yeah. Would you mind introducing yourself for the viewers?
Yeah, of course. My name is Anthony Williams. I work at the University Police Department. One of the lieutenants for the C shift. And I've been here for as a full-time employee, finishing up my 10th year.
Wow.
10 years. Same.
So a few weeks ago, I posted a quote about empathy just on my own personal Facebook account, and I'm just going to read the quote. It says, "Let me hold the door for you. I may have never walked in your shoes, but I can see your strength is torn under the weight of a story I have never lived before. Let me hold the door for you. After all you have walked through, it is the least that I can do." And that is by Morgan Harper Nichols. And so I saw that quote I saw that on Instagram, so another social media account. And I really thought, because I saw that quote, I think just kind of at the wake of Mr. Floyd's murder and just everything that was going on. And I really thought that was a good quote, just with all this time and just thinking, there's so many voices that are, yelling and saying things and are wanting to be heard. And so I thought just for me and my role, like that's a really good just quote to kind of live by right now, to recognize when, like, I don't understand everything, but like I can see pain and I can see sorrow. And so like the least I can do is, as the quote says, like, let me hold the door for you. So I really like that quote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. It's fitting for sure, especially when, it's a very fitting quote, I would say, in an aspect of, who I am, and yeah, it's good one. Good find.
I really liked it too. And just to be transparent with the viewers, we've been debating back and forth with having a public conversation about racism and violence because we know it's controversial. And there's a lot of emotions coming from all people with all sorts of opinions. And Julia and I both felt compelled to say something on our show, but honestly, we weren't sure exactly how to do that. So in an effort to narrow it down to a roughly 30-minute episode, like we typically do, our director asked us, well, what is it that you want people to walk away with? And so, of course, the standard answer is that, I mean, domestic and sexual violence is a crime that doesn't discriminate against your race or your gender or how much money you make or where you live or what your culture has been like, that it's just something that can happen to anybody. And we want to make sure that victims know that they will be met with respect and with common courtesy and validation when they come into our services and share their survivor story, no matter what they look like or what they've been through. But then we got to really thinking about her question, and we landed back on that post that Julia's talked about that quoted empathy. And it's something that we believe that the world is actually lacking. So we believe that the world is lacking empathy, and maybe with more of it, we could reach some kind of understanding with each other.
Mhm.
One thing the quote mentions is that I've not walked in your shoes, which means we all have different experiences that are very personal to us and possibly have shaped who we've become. It's a validation that experiences cause different thoughts, reactions, and lifestyles, and experiences shape culture.
And so the quote goes on to say that your strength is torn under the weight of a story I have never lived before. I have a story, and some of it is heavy. Julia has a story, and I would imagine some of those things are heavy. And Anthony, you have a story where I imagine parts of your story are heavy. And you, the viewers, you all have a story. Are not parts of it heavy?
Today, we want to do what the quote ends with, and that's to hold the door for you. We want to listen. In the beginning, the idea behind this was to say thoughts, and there's a time and a place to be vocal. But today, we want to listen. We want to hold the door open for one of our colleagues and friends whom we really respect.
As we respect their story, we also want to be clear to the viewers that we recognize that our friend we have on here today, he is not the spokesperson for all African Americans, for all law enforcement officers, or for all men, or whoever, or however people may want to spin this. And it's just like how I am not the spokesperson for all Asian Americans or females, or I'm not the spokesperson for all victim advocates. We just want to open the door.
Mm-hmm. So we're just going to go for the elephant in the room. But Anthony, what are your perspectives with what is going on in America right now?
Oh boy. Well, I think with everything that's going on right now, it's a heavy moment, but it's a crucial moment. Um, y- you know, just a few weeks ago when this was all happening, it was a tough week for me with everything with COVID and just kind of as an institution, obviously law enforcement at a higher education institution is a little bit different than from a traditional law enforcement perspective. And so with that, outside of this, and then just kind of seeing you know, the things that are going on, it's been weighing really heavy on me because I take myself sometimes out of the uniform and I think about family, relatives, and friends, very close friends, and the aspect of what's been going on. And it's one of those things where I immediately have to say, hey man, check on my best friend, and just say, hey, how are y'all doing? Y'all doing okay? Like, you know, because they look like me, and the instances of what's been going on is occurring to people that look like me outside of this uniform. But I also think it's a crucial time where law enforcement is becoming, and even if it's one of those things where it's becoming vulnerable in the aspect of we have to, it's still happening. And I think it's a very crucial time for people to speak out and really speak up their mind and let us know what it is that we need to do, because I think there are some challenges that we do have to take, and we have to own that and accept that, hey, there's some things that we have been doing for quite some time that needs to be reevaluated. I'm an evaluation type person, so I'm always reevaluating myself, my decisions, and things around me. And I think that's just something that we need to kind of constantly do to make sure we're doing the right thing for the people, because at the end of the day, that's who we're serving. All the patrol cars say, police and service or service and protection, that service really means something. And so we have to really look at take a step back and just kind of reevaluate things and make sure we're doing the right things and holding each other accountable, because that's one of the few things that they really want. And we always talk that we holding the line with each other, but we have to do that as well by making sure we're doing the things that we're supposed to be doing.
Thank you. Would you mind telling us a little bit about your background and
Yeah.
why you chose to go into law enforcement?
Yep. So I guess the last time I really thought about going into law enforcement was when I was really, really little. But as I grew up, it just kind of went out the window. Um, there's been some instances that reasons why, and then there's some other reasons to the reason why I got back into it. But I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. I started doing, kind of nightclub security with my best friend, one of the guys I talked about, in the previous question. He got me into it. So, kind of a bouncer type, in nightclubs and stuff like that. And I kind of enjoyed it. It wasn't really the law enforcement authority, but it was one of those deals where, you just kind of enjoy yourself, but at the same time, make sure everybody's, safe, having fun, having a good time or whatnot. And like I said, I got to be around, my good friends, because it was like everybody on the whole team was kind of, I grew up with, played football with in high school. And so it was just kind of fun to have that and be around people you love and genuine good people. And it was kind of weird because he was the one that really wanted to get into law enforcement. And it turned out that just kind of just happened for me. I came here as a student, and I applied to be student security and for a semester. And then after that, my sergeant at the time, supervisor Mike separately, um, just talked to me about it and said, hey, you should go to academy. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I was a corporate recreation major. I was thinking about going to business, wanted to be a personal trainer and all that. But I was just like, heck, he said, hey, go ahead, apply here. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Keep going to school and have a full-time job. Don't have to, my mom won't have to worry about me. And, single mother, having to pay for stuff for me and want to take out too many loans. So so I kind of got into it. Then I applied here, got the job, and it was one of those things where, I kind of year after year kind of reevaluated myself and was like, hey, is this really what I want to do? I had my rookie moments, and like I said, I'm kind of an evaluator. So I'm kind of, I'm always thinking back to that time, and I train our new officers, hey, learn from my mistakes, because I know I sure did. And one of the biggest things I have learned is that with this power, I have the ability to change someone's life. And so why does it always have to be in a negative light? And that's why I chose to stay here, is because we want to see students, we want to see them leave without having that attachment per se, that negative attachment. And so, especially when our students come from inner cities and they have this negative perspective of law enforcement, can we change that throughout the 4 years that they're here? And so that when they go back, one, they're more mature. Hopefully we taught them something. We've definitely have learned something from them, and helped them grow. And also they have definitely helped me grow, because I can name tons of stories where that's how I built myself. My character was from students challenging me to be a better person, be a better officer. And hopefully, my actions are speaking louder than what I'm saying. And I've just been growing. And so there's been times where I thought, hey, maybe I need to go on and leave, but it's just a hard place to leave when, one, my supervisor, Clarence Green, is an awesome person. I've learned so much from him, and very good mentor to me, and several others. And it's just one of those places I don't want to leave, because I don't want to, I know me, and I don't think I will, but I don't want to have that effect if I go somewhere else and I change it to a different person. Like I said, I don't think I will, because I know myself and I'm an evaluator. But just the surrounding here and just being able to change people's lives in a different aspect is awesome to me. And I don't want to have to challenge and all other stuff at this moment in time right now. I want to do so in my position that I have now, and throughout. If I can speak on it and talk to people about it, then that's awesome. So that's kind of my background and kind of where I came from. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing all of
Yeah.
that. Just get to have an insight into your life. So with being in law enforcement, what is the hardest part about being in law enforcement, or what is, a hard part about being in law enforcement that you'd want to share?
Mhm. Um, I just share, my opinion, my perspective. For one, just being a Black police officer is, right now, I feel like I would say I have pretty good support from family, and I know I have family members who don't care for cops, and that's fine. Because like I said, at that moment, there's a moment in time where I was in that same spot where I didn't really care for cops too much because of some of the growing ups or whatnot, and the way family members were treated. But the hardest thing is, like I said, from my perspective, is that I'm getting it from several different angles. Where you have, I've been attacked personally while in uniform, not like physically attacked, but been called several hatred words while I'm in uniform, but also I'm get attacked sometimes by people who look like me as well, but don't understand my story. And then also you have internally people can attack you based on because of where you work, and they don't perceive maybe my job as being the real police or this and that, because we're trying to be more of a community policing aspect and more of a caring policing, and so they may not see it as that hardcore aspect of what you may see somewhere else. And like I said, I chose to be here because that's the policing that I like. um and so, that's the hard thing. And then the other thing is just, sitting back, or it's not really sitting back, but like I said, really evaluating the things that we see, the personnel, the training. It's so hard to weed out, people, the things that have been here for so long. And you see the good people leave, and you see those who I would say probably bad, not specifically talking here or there, but just all around the world with the problems we have going on. You'll see a lot more people, good people leaving because of who wants to come every day to a job to where, you don't get paid much, you work long hours, you miss your family, the events, and you lose so many friends and support. And then the job that has no meaning anymore, and the person next to you may be antagonizing that, and so you're losing yourself. And so I think that's the hard part about it. And I think that's where we really need that community help to help us with that, because otherwise it's nothing's really going to change.
Thank you for that. What do you think? So you've kind of touched on it. What is the hardest thing for you when facing racism? And that can be when you have witnessed it, or when you've experienced it, or both.
Mm. I guess the hardest thing, like I said, is I'll just use an example. With the whole Charlotte deal, you have I know you have people's perspectives, and they have their First Amendment to say what they want, but it's hard when when you see those officers there, black officers, where and me knowing the person, not really knowing the person, but saying, I know that guy's a cop, he's a black man, and you can really see the emotion in his face of, I have to sit here and listen to this guy who may be really racist towards someone who looks like me, but I have to sit there and protect them because that's my job. But yet you really want the other side to also understand that, hey, I'm not, it's yes, I'm protecting them, but I'm also protecting you. I won't let them also, you know, uh, I can't do as far as physically hurt you. That's one thing I'll probably, in my own opinion, probably protect the person more, because, like I said, they look like me, and it's badgering. I think we're humans, and for another person to say I hate you because of what you look like, and you don't even know me, I think that's just that's just it's inhumane. And I think it's downright not right at all. And it's hard to sit there sometimes and not accept it, but have to deal with it.
Is there anything you want people to know or remember about law enforcement?
Yeah, like I said, one thing is, like I said, I know there's some bad apples that can really mess up the whole bunch. And like I said, you know there's been times where it's like, man, should I get out of it? But Clarence said it best. If nobody's going to do it or speak out about it, then somebody has to. Who? Not saying I'm better to do it, but if I leave, I'm just another one that's leaving as well. I may not play a huge role, but I can probably try to do something. Whether it's each contact I have when I see an officer who's doing something that they need to be held accountable for, and I check it right then and there, then I just stop one. I'm saving may not be saving a life, but I'm saving an issue that could become huge. And also know that, I know it doesn't seem like it, but we really are trying. There's departments out there really trying. I just went to Quantico not too long ago and met, 200 and basically a law enforcement representative from every state and 35 different countries. And I just had a Zoom call with several awesome people from chiefs, from different departments, all over the place. And there's some really good initiatives that they really want to do. And listening to some of their stories and how they understand that challenge, and they're really wanting to step up and try to do something to bring in the community to help us figure out what it is that we need to change. Like I said, right during this time, it may not be, people may not want to hear that, but there's some action that needs to be done, and these are some actions that we're taking. We're doing we're going to continue to do our best. I'm for sure going to accept that fault, whether even though it's not me. I wear this badge every day, and I took that oath, so I'm going to accept that fault and say, hey, I'm going to do what I can to make sure the next officer is a better officer. Make sure our department's in line, and make sure any corrective action that we have to take is taken, and that we're holding each other accountable, because that's what we need to do.
One thing I just want to say, one thing that's really stuck out to me and that, I don't know, means a lot is, when you had said that when you take on the position of a law enforcement officer, you take on this power, and then what are you going to do with the responsibility of that power? And so thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, that's really respectable and honorable.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want people to know or remember about racism?
Like I said, it's downright not right. And the fact that if it's just like when I tell officers, if you're going to do something, make sure you know why. Anytime, I get a report in the office that I have to check, I'm not badgering them, but I might ask them why. And the reason why I ask them that, and I may know the why, the reason why I ask them that is because I want to make sure that they know that everything they're doing, there's a reason to it. And our pillars of success, which we don't have a mission or a vision, we state that, we value people asking us the why, because we want to explain why we're doing things. It's the same thing I feel like with racism. If you don't have a reason why, then you should not have hatred towards anybody at all. And regardless, I don't think there is a real reason for anybody to hate someone because of the color of their skin. I have not, any of the history books or anything like that, there's no real reason for, hating somebody, or nobody can say, okay, well, this is they might have a definitive answer, but there's no real logic to it, in my opinion. Like, okay, so again, explain this to me. You don't like me because why? You know what I mean? So in that aspect, if you really don't have a reason, if I have not done to you, especially if you don't know me or you don't know the other person, then you should not hate that person. And you should not teach kids to hate that person. And if we come across kids or, people that, I taught an officer once who said, you know, he had a hard time because a kid said F the police. And I'm like, well, that's a kid. Where do you think he's learning from? So you're saying you're going to give up on this kid because he said F the police? He's learning from somewhere. You're the cop. So can you help that, or can you build him to have a different perspective like somebody did for me, because I was that kid, you know what I mean? And so just because you have someone who's younger, and we can, kind of build that kid or kind of give him a positive light, then let's do that. Don't sit up there and just, shy away. Oh, they don't like me. So you know what? That's bigotry. That's just not right at all.
Yeah, Anthony, I just want to tell you, thank you so much for just being honest with us and just sharing all of your thoughts so far on the show. And like we've said before, Meghann and I we really do respect you. And yeah, and even just, my brief, couple years working at UPD in dispatch, the environment there is just, all of you guys are for each other and for the students. And so, yeah, I really, really respect and value that. And that comes from good leadership. And so I can see that just in all the officers at UPD, and just and even just in your responses of knowing the why, and really just for the students, for this generation, for a better, world, a better America. So yeah, I just really appreciate that. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the viewers?
Only thing I'd like to share is that, Chief Clarence Green really wished he could be here, but obviously he couldn't, had a family emergency. So, but I know he has good thoughts, and anytime you want to pick his brain or have any, just want to come, our doors are always open, for any of us, to come in, just kind of have that conversation with us, talk to us about what's going on. Some students had made some stuff and wanted, some action, and we were like, hey, come on in, share your thoughts, share what the issue is, and let's see what we can do to, hash this out. And like I said, we'll do our best. Obviously, we can't do everything, but we'll do our best to make things happen and try to do it, because you know we, we're trying to be about action, and less of a, the more, common of, just putting things out just to put it out to try to see if the fly go away. But like I said, people are really angry right now, and people have the right to be, and we have to be able to accept that challenge and accept the faults that we've had for so long, and have to be willing to change it.
Thank you. So Anthony, thank you for being on the show. It really takes a lot to be open and somewhat vulnerable with people, especially right now. So like Julia said, we just really appreciate your honesty, your time and compassion. And again, just to be transparent with the viewers, those conversations that you were talking about having, and the fact that that UPD's door is always open, that's very true. So prior to this show, Julia and I went out and spoke directly with you and Clarence, and we just wanted to have a conversation, and it wasn't even really necessarily with 100% intent to do a show, or to put fame on it. And again, however people want to spin this, but it really was just to show empathy, because that thing that Julia posted about it, it just really resonated with both of us. And that's it. We were just, that's what we landed on when, again, our director asked, what do you want people to walk away from if this were to turn into an episode and you're going to have a conversation that could become controversial, maybe the public won't see it, in certain ways. And it's just to come back and to show that empathy and to show compassion, and just to listen to people's story. And so, Anthony, we just really appreciate you being in a space where you can do that, and for choosing to do that with us today. So, I mean, really, it's just two words, but like really deeply, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, all. Thank you, ladies, for having me. This has been awesome. Like you said, during that meeting, I had my, my moments, and thought about if I really should do it. But if not me, or if anyone else, who's going to do it? Like I said, we got bad apples. So is it the bad apple telling you misinformation? So thank you for having me and allowing us to do this.
Thank
See you
you.
later, ladies.
Bye.
Bye.
So here at North Star Advocacy Center, as I said earlier, like it is our jobs to empathize and validate, and to listen. So we work with survivors of sexual assault and domestic violence, and they're often told that their experiences don't matter. So as advocates, we're here to say, yes, you have a voice. What you've experienced is real, and we'll listen to you, and we're going to support you through that. And so that's the main reason we have this conversation with Clarence and Anthony first, and then just with Anthony right now, and to share it with you guys, because we just want to share with you guys just their experiences, and just we hope that you can listen along with us and empathize along with us, because I got a lot of hope out of Anthony's conversation, our conversation with Anthony. Saw a lot of hope for change, and hope for like a better America where we're unified. So that's the message that we want to share. And so we're going to continue to listen, to empathize, and validate. And we'll see you guys next week.